The United Kingdom is a beacon of openness and generosity. That was Boris Johnson in April this year. For a country that's dumping immigrants into Rwanda, that is rich. You already know about Johnson's plan. His government wants to get rid of asylum seekers, so they ship them off, fly them off more like, all the way to Rwanda, some 6,500 kilometers away from London. What would it cost Britain? Some money and a one-way ticket for these immigrants. The first flight was supposed to leave on Tuesday. It did not. Quite a dramatic twist there. Look at the pictures on your screen. The migrants had boarded the plane. It was on the tarmac, all set to depart, but the flight never took off. All thanks to the European Court of Human Rights. It stopped the deportation at the very last minute. The lawyers of these immigrants had gone to the European Court. They stopped the departure of the plane, and now the legality of this entire proposal will be tested. Can Britain dump asylum seekers into Rwanda? Does this violate international law? These are the questions being debated, apart from the moral ones, of course. And this is where it leaves Boris Johnson. Last week, he barely managed to survive a leadership test. This week, his deportation plan has backfired. Let's begin with what happened yesterday and what a spectacular failure it was for London. More than 10,000 illegal migrants, more than 10,000, have entered Britain this year. The UK identified 130 people to deport, 130. Eventually, only 7 of them could be put on a flight, just 7. What about the others? Well, they went to court. They challenged the orders and they managed to get their deportation overturned. But 7 out of 130 got no relief from British courts. Who were these people? 3 Iranians, 1 Syrian, 1 Albanian, 1 Iraqi and 1 Vietnamese citizen. The United Kingdom wanted to make an example out of these people, so it arranged a massive plane, a plane that can accommodate 200 people. The British government hired it to transport just 7 migrants. Perhaps they were desperate to show how well their plan works. Well, it did not. The European Court intervened at the last moment. The migrants had sought relief from this court and they got it. The European Human Rights Court has raised several questions about Britain's policy. It wants to know if Rwanda is a safe country for migrants and how easily the migrants can be called back if something goes wrong. So the Rwanda plan is now caught in a legal tangle. The next hearing will be in July. It will decide the future of this policy. But Britain seems undeterred. It is already preparing for the next flight. In Parliament today, the British government defended the Rwanda plan. They want to make sure it sails. They've already paid Rwanda more than $150 million for infrastructure. So Boris Johnson is now attacking the opposition. He says the Labour Party is defending traffickers and that the lawyers who oppose this plan are, quote unquote, abetting criminal gangs.
Mr. Speaker, we are on the side of the travelling public. By the way, he hasn't mentioned this, but they're on the side of the people traffickers who would risk people's lives at sea, Mr. Speaker. And we are on the side of people who come here safely and legally. Safely and legally, Mr. Speaker. They carp and snipe from the sidelines. That's what they've always done.
The UK government is confident. It believes it can overcome the legal challenges. But how will it deal with the opposition from within? Civil servants in England are protesting. This includes members of the Home Office. They have put up fake deportation notices. One of them has a picture of the Paddington Bear, the popular character from children's books. The notice says, "Have you seen this individual?" Yesterday, there were protests outside the Home Office. Hundreds of people attended. Former leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, was among them. More high-profile leaders are challenging the Rwanda plan. Among them is the leader of the Church of England, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby. He dominated the front pages of several British newspapers yesterday. He has written an open letter criticizing the policy. This immoral policy shames Britain. That's what he said, his words. Reports say Prince Charles is also against the plan. The future King of England apparently called it appalling in private. His office has refused to comment about the report, but more importantly, they did not deny the prince's alleged comments. Now, why do these people find the Rwanda plan so troubling? Because it reminds them of Britain's troubling imperial past. The British Empire too transported migrants, slaves and indentured workers were taken from India to British colonies. They went to countries like Fiji, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, British Guiana, Jamaica, Trinidad. Boris Johnson's Rwanda plan is a modern-day adaptation of the same policies. It does not address the global refugee crisis, and it will not end the problem of criminal gangs. By the way, Israel had a similar arrangement with Rwanda back in 2017. It fell apart. Do you know why? Israel sent about 4,000 migrants to Rwanda. Only 9 of them ended up staying. The rest simply left. So this is what it comes down to. The Rwanda plan is a political move. It was meant to rally the anti-immigration voters. It was meant to rescue Boris Johnson's political career. Well, now it has backfired and turned into a new crisis for the British Prime Minister. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.